Welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in, sharing in this now moment. I'm just going to go into a little flow and maybe a little light language, a little energy share. So, welcome. This is meant to be felt, not necessarily understood on a linear basis. And again, this is always from my own perspective and my own journey, from my own way that I play with the universe. So everybody's got their own thing, right? So I find joy in expressing in this way. So I'm just sharing it with you guys. Just moving some energy around the heart space, breathing in and out. We are all energetic beings having a unique individual energetic experience. Here connected fully in through the air, the aether, the space and spirit that move through all things, not to necessarily be confused with each other, but certainly confused with each other, fused together in a fusion of coming into oneness through the fabric that we all sit within, that we all move through, that we all interact through. And so as we interact through this fabric, through this frequency, through these energies, the inner actions come to the surface. We act out that which it is we are feeling from within. Or we act programs, we reenact programs that we have been taught, that we have been birthed, so to speak, within. And the languages in which we communicate change and shift, just as our vocal speeds and harmonics changes and shifts. Ooh, I'm seeing so much change in the DNA. Our tone and frequencies in which we debate, if you will, with one another, raises and lowers, fluctuates. For as we birth our expression through communication, we are bringing forth a sound full of codes, if you will. And many of us have been taught or have learned how to read between the lines, if you will. This is certainly not just a visual aspect. This is hearing the sound behind the sound. It is hearing the influctuations in the voice. It is tapping into a deeper resonance, if you will. And many of us are activating this fuller ability to hear the truth, to feel into what is being projected, if you will, and moving through this new wave of information and bandwidths. We are interacting with it in a new way. For as this harmonizes, we begin to harmonize and step out of harm, if you will. I'm hearing harm's way. We begin to harmonize into, we begin to move into a better frequency of harmony, harmonization, realization in alchemy, ionization. This changes everything. This changes how we interact with the field around us. It changes how we interact with one another. It changes how we interact with our feelings within our body. For we are being invited to differentiate between the old and the new. The paradigm shifts that we are feeling into have changed in their expressions, for we are a moving, fluid form of expression going through a moving out of conformity, if you will, moving in a new realm of information. Information, packed full, chock full of codes and frequencies that we are unpacking, if you will. That which has been stored within us, that which has been stored from one perspective within our environment, has now been accessed, activated, and coming online. This is all a play on words. I could go into so many different layers here with these words. And in this way, we change how our cells are communicating. We communicate at the cellular level in a completely different vibratory frequency, speed, and rate. Therefore, we are, I'm hearing that this can exacerbate, is that a word? Exacerbate? A lot of the, like, I'm seeing the body, like, kind of what's going on, right? So therefore, the more we tune into what it is that we need in order to find our inner resiliency, our inner vibrancy, is so important. When we feel the undercurrents ripple through us of the past, I'm seeing, as I say paradigm, it's value system, a dime, parameters, what we thought was the perfect reality is now different. And I was kind of in flow earlier, and I'd been speaking about luggage, like letting go of this need to lug the old age with us. And so this is challenging for many because we have felt so constricted over time that many feel the need they need to pass these constrictions on to others. Many feel they need to project a particular point of view and reality construct onto the others. For these construction sets were set up this way, a level of listen and obey, if you will, has been projected through our reality structures over time. Yet now we have come out of this and we are over time. The time for that is over, and we have moved past these old paradigms that no longer hold the same resiliency, the same codependency, if you will. For we are no longer codependent on these old codes. We have outsourced, we have moved past, for we have connected back into our true source, our true I'm seeing collaboration, and as I say that, I'm hearing like colliding and colloidal, and I spoke about this in my last post, I think, about how, what is that Hadron Collider? It's particle acceleration. So we've accelerated. Our time has accelerated, the way that we're interacting with it, but if we're hanging on to these old components and we're then expecting our roles and others to roles to fill those old roles, old rules, I'm seeing a movie reel, old realities, then it's only going to, I'm just seeing it's going to, how do I say this? Create a disturbance in the field. It only disturbs. So as I'm saying that, I'm hearing down with the sickness. You because this is how I communicate with source and spirit, and my guides communicate with me through all things. But I'm hearing literally down with the sickness, and I'm seeing disturbed. And it's not balanced. It creates this distortion in the field. And then the harmonics that are naturally the organic presentation that we are essentially all creatively connected to are unable to hold that frequency. We are then unable to hold that frequency. So then what happens is we go back into conformity and express from that space, and that's why so many are feeling this out of sync and out of balance. So as we allow ourselves to continue to be more fluid and allow ourselves to move into this fluid state of interconnection and this deeper resource, resiliency that is coming up through the source, not only of the body, but the source. I'm seeing source codes, and I'm seeing like the fabric. Of course, I talk about all that we're connected to, the fascia. I'm seeing what happens is it creates this disconnect, and some are feeling the need to stay in that old reality because of habits, because of confusion, because of self-doubt. And again, I'm being guided to go back to talk about paradigm. It's like this old value system. They don't know necessarily. I'm always hearing what Cryon says, you don't know what you don't know, because they're not opening up necessarily. And when I say they, this isn't like a us and them kind of thing, because this could be us in any given moment. And when we're feeling completely out of sync, we're being gifted the opportunity to move back into fluidity and just kind of let go of whatever it is that's creating this buffer, is what I'm hearing. So I'm being guided to talk a little bit more about buffer. So I guess when I'm being shown the internet, right? And when you have something and it's buffering, it's processing, and it's basically catching itself up. It's like we have to catch up to this higher expression of who we are, when before it was much slower. So by us just allowing and letting go of whatever this friction is creating and just kind of softening to it is what I keep hearing. Letting go of this need to project an old perspective onto the new reality that we're existing in because it doesn't fit anymore. Come away, no stem kunewe ha man te kumo ne moa mukusteneti makwa hene wa hai neki stu mokumoena. For many of us have stepped up into a higher journey, if you will. We are stepping up into a higher, I'm hearing a higher home base and a higher home plate. And I'm hearing plate tectonics. So part of this friction that we're feeling is this separation going on, this rubbing together of old and new. But this friction then allows us to feel what is old and what is new. We can recognize from this expansive point of view what it is that we have, I'm hearing, pointed ourselves into, so to speak, from one perspective. And I'm basically seeing the intention and focus of where we're pointing our, I'm hearing laser beam, our own technology. We're much more in control of it than we think we are at times. We are being invited to let go of the need to project our point of view onto others' points of view. For we are all in this process together. And as confusing as it may be for some, imagine how much more fluid and easily it will be to succumb to these higher points of view if we're not pulling apart our energy. And I'm seeing people that could just come into wholeness and oneness, but they're creating separation because they're looking at all these other things around them saying, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I don't believe in that. You're this, you're that. So projection, judgment, all of that is part of the old system of hierarchy. And I'm seeing that that makes people feel more valuable. And what I'm being shown again, it's the dime. It's like they put up this, this stems from lack of self-worth. Like, I don't feel, and this is subconscious. I'm seeing that it's not necessarily intentionally projected this way. But this is an energy that is very pervasive right now. And it has, what I'm hearing is, it has been an energy that is so sneaky. It can sneak up on us and make us feel that we are working towards the greater good, or that we are truly in alignment with what should be. When in reality, we are mapping into an old trajectory of humanity that was necessary in order to move more into the truth and the true components of who we really are. So many are feeling the need to still hang on to the old adage, the old adding system, the old mathematical equivalency of right and wrong, and in the old systems that we had placed value in, that we created around, that are in the process of deconstructing. For they are no longer holding the same value or truth consistency in which we are now mapping into. Therefore, I'm being shown a map, and essentially if we were holding a paper map and we were comparing the old world to the new world, it wouldn't match up. So we would get lost because we're following directions from an old system, old habit patterns, old geometries, old configurations, old vibrations. And I'm hearing match point set. It's a play on words. And I'm literally seeing this. If we can just let that go, I'm seeing burn, baby, burn. Like taking a match, taking that old map and just letting it alchemize. I'm literally seeing like the phoenix rising, allowing it to alchemize through fire in the blood. Okay, I will play with this. I always sing that song, but I call it fire in the blood, but you're the fire in the flood. You're the fire in the flood, right? And the flood. But I always say, you're the fire in my blood. So I'm seeing literally our blood alchemizing, but that's bliss. It's heartfelt equilibrium. And that's a play on words as well. And as I'm saying equilibrium, I'm seeing a call to equal, all to call, a call to everyone to get on this, not the same, but a balance of, we're equal, we're all human, we're all on earth. We're all in this together, right? So why are we projecting these old rules and these old mentalities that aren't really based on the new truth? And what I'm seeing is, what is that new truth? What does that look like? Well, that's going to be exposed, is what I'm hearing, over the course of these next sequential sets of harmonics that are being introduced into the mainframe. Play on words. I know this is a little bit, I got a little wonky there for a moment, but essentially what I'm seeing is we're shifting, we're changing, time is shifted, so therefore all of this old map, and I think of a map as our architecture, I think of it as our body, I think of it as like the tree of life, and again, I'm being guided to talk about that. It's not about, well, the tree of life is this number, used to be this number, but it's really this number. Even that, it's just like kind of letting that all go. Okay, that is what it is. What does that really mean, right? What is the truth behind that mathematical representation of reality structures? It's the sound behind the sound, because there's this, what I'm seeing is the overlay of truth that still only holds a certain amount of knowledge. Boy, I could go into so many different areas here. So it's kind of like we were taught something, we understand it, but we don't know what we don't know, what Crayon always says. So we know that this was wrong, we know that this is right. But that's not the end-all, be-all, know-all either, because ultimately that right now can shift again in another 3 months, because we've then, what I'm hearing is, learned something else that we didn't know before 3 months ago. So if we're locked into this one mapping system, we're getting lost in it because it's missing certain components. And as above, so below, as within, so without. So as we learn about these components and feel into them and express them in a harmonic space of flow and balance, then all of this knowingness starts to awaken from within our own structure. And then what happens is we look back at these old maps and say, yes, they served us for what we needed then, but they no longer serve who I am now or where I'm going, because the potential has already been, basically we've already hit that potential. So that can be, thank you, moving on. So I'll have to play with the whole tree of life thing. That is a play on words. I'm hearing we are the roots, we are the branches, we are the trees of life, and this new equation that we are literally mapping into through our own fluidity and construction sets of our DNA and evolution, if you want to call it that, is very different than what we've been taught. So what is it that we've been taught that we're so what I'm hearing is locked into, that we can't get out of our own way. We can't get out of our own cages, is what I'm hearing, because we're so locked behind the bars. And then as I say that, I'm literally seeing bars of value, like bars of gold, but I'm also seeing a particular shape of what we thought reality looked like. So it might have something to do with physics, mathematics, religious structures, social structures, and the financial system as well. Like everything is shifting. Therefore, can we shift with it? How fluidly can we shift with it? What can we let go of that maybe held a certain frequency then? I'm hearing held water. It had a certain value, but now it doesn't. The water has overfilled it, it's overflowed it, and essentially is cleansing out that old system. Are we going to get washed out with it? And I'm seeing that that's kind of part of the journey a little bit too, is allowing ourselves to feel. I'm sensing or hearing that some people will feel really lost because of that. So that's that lost mapping system. There are people that will feel lost and they won't know really why, but it's because all of a sudden what they really believed was true is no longer true, because they now know more. And that's something I think we've all gone through in the last couple of years, right? Especially last year from a broader perspective. But what I'm sharing and talking about now is literally things about our body. We're going to learn about technology. We're going to learn about Earth, things we didn't know about Earth. We're going to learn about certain reasons that there's been certain things on Earth we're going to learn about, and many of us already have, but there's more. I'm hearing, but wait, there's more. So the guidance is like, don't get stuck in the next and the next and the next, because it's going to be a lot all at a very short amount of time. I'm just going to end on that note. And I'll do a continuing light language video down the road. I will be doing some more energy shares soon. I haven't done very many lately. If you guys are interested, thank you so much for tuning in and just even watching these videos and sharing them and being part of this community. I'm so grateful to you guys and for you guys. And, you know, all of us are expanding so in such a broad range. I keep seeing all these different colors and sounds and just this deeper connection that we're having with animals and Mother Earth and everything. And if we can just relax into it a little bit, doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to do all day long in every hour of the day if we want to look at time. But the more frequently we can do it and do the things such as breathing and taking care of our bodies and asking ourselves, what am I stuck in right now? What is it that's causing this friction? Do I need to still hang on to that? Why is that so valuable to me? Or is that really valuable to the true me and to my true self-worth and to my true construct of reality? And the more that we can start doing that, the less we'll be projecting our old energies onto others and our environment, and therefore shifting the vibration faster. So, in love and light, guys, namaste.